Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Neurodiverging podcast. I'm Danielle Sullivan. I'm so excited to be back with you. It has been a while, y'all. I was looking at the last video, which came out about 7 months ago from when I'm recording this, and I really needed that break, y'all. I love doing the podcast, but there was a lot going on. But I am so excited to be back, and I have so much in store for you. Let's get to it. So, this episode is going to be a little bit more of like a catch up check in with me. And if you are not interested in that, totally cool. Catch us in the next episode when we'll be back to like learning about neurodiversity in the world today. But I'm here after a big break because, well, a lot was going on, both personally and professionally. But we have been up to a lot, and I would love to tell you a little bit about it. So, first of all, one thing that happened is that we moved my family for the first time in about 10, 12 years, and just not that far away from where we were now. We're still in the Denver area. But it was a big shift for me, and it brought up a lot of like change for me and shifts in how I understood myself that I'll definitely be talking about on a future podcast. But I have talked about it a little bit in a smaller way on a podcast I'm forgetting the name of, but we'll link down below. But many years ago now, one of my sisters got married, and I went out to the East Coast, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area to visit, and I was there for several days, and I was off my routine. And I talked about that in a podcast episode, how when you shift somebody like me who is quote unquote high functioning in my day-to-day life, when you take us out of our routine and out of our supportive environment, sometimes we fall over a little bit. And it's entirely predictable to everyone except us. And that's kind of what happened to me when I moved is I had to create new systems in a new location, a new environment with new people in my household and, people in different rooms, and my kids' bedtimes changed and my food access and habits changed and everything changed. And I really had to rebuild from the ground up. And in many ways, the change was incredibly positive. And I'm still very happy that we have moved. And also, I really needed to contain my energy and understand my capacity a little better in these new circumstances. And that involves cutting things out, like reducing workload for a while, stopping the podcast for a while, taking time to really like map out what do I want? How do I get it? And what can I do to start creating these structures from the bottom up again so that I can come back? I can come back and do this stuff. The other thing, and I'll talk about more of that in next podcasts because it's something I work with clients on all the time. So it's something that I think will be valuable to talk about more. The other thing that I've been up to, which is really exciting for me, is that I have written a book. And like technically, I wrote the book before we moved, but then there's just been all this, it's a lot of people on a team. So I wrote the book, but I worked with a publisher and when there's just a lot that goes into publishing a book. So I want to tell you about that briefly. Again, I'll be talking about it more in future podcasts, but it's called Embracing Your ADHD Brain, an actually helpful guide for teens. And I can show you if you're watching the video, here is the cover. And I will put links down below. It is now available for pre-order. It drops September 15th anywhere you buy your books. So I encourage you, if you are interested in it, obviously you can put in a pre-order now. And if you tell me, if you go on my website and tell me that you have pre-ordered, I have a bundle of goodies available for folks who pre-order as a special thank you from me. But also, even if you're not interested in pre-ordering or you don't have any teens in your life or young adults who might benefit from this kind of book, if you are willing to request it from your library, mention it to people you know who have ADHD teenagers or young adults, all that kind of stuff also helps. And I am forming a street team to help me get the book out to the people who need it. So again, if you're interested in that, if you're a longtime podcast listener, make sure you're on my mailing list. I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you. I've got some fun things planned and fun bonuses to offer. And it's going to be such a party when this book launches. I'm very excited. So that's what's been going on, y'all. I mean, in a nutshell, I moved, I wrote a book, and also had life stuff happen, right? Like had health things happen. A couple more people passed this year, unfortunately. Leo's still kicking, my old black cat. He's 19. Kids are doing really well. New house has been great, but just a lot of change. The other big thing I want to talk about in this Welcome Back podcast is just get all the new news out there all at once is I did end up closing my Patreon towards the end of last year. And this was a huge decision that took months and months and months, really, of research and figuring out. Many of you know I started this podcast as a podcast. I started being a person on the internet because of this podcast, which I launched in February 2020. And at the time, I was newly identified neurodivergent person, didn't have the ADHD diagnosis yet, didn't have several of my diagnoses yet, just had the autism label, was navigating being a parent to somebody who had just been diagnosed neurodivergent as well. Now I'm a parent of several neurodivergent children and was really at the time looking to connect with other folks who are going through the same thing. Since that time, it's been 6 years. My reach and mission and just who I am as a human and what I'm interested in has evolved, which I think is pretty normal and natural. But the Patreon was really started to support the podcast, to support the podcast. And I so value the podcast. And also, especially last year in the midst of other things happening, realized that I didn't want the podcast to be the center of my business anymore. I value the podcast so much, and it's brought me such joy to meet so many people and to know so many people. And I'm going to continue doing the podcast. And also, this is a breadwinning enterprise now. This job supports my family and my kids, and it's important to me to run it in a way that is maintainable for me as a neurodivergent person and also supports the people we're trying to serve as best we possibly can. And that means some shifts in how we're running our business. And so we did end up closing down the Patreon. We shifted, we now have a free community that's hosted by me, which was also really important to me because in our current political landscape, being neurodivergent is not, I mean, it's never been safe, but it's especially not safe. And so many of us are also queer, trans, or otherwise in minority groups. I did not want our group information sitting around in a Discord server or on Facebook where it was very vulnerable. And so it was important to me to shift our group over to some place where I can actually control with more. You can't control everything 100%, but I have more control over who has access to that data to keep more people safe. That's really important to me. So we now have our own free community group, which you are welcome to join, called Find Our Flow. And that's over at neurodiverging.com/community. And it's for any neurodivergent adult. We're at about 700 members. We've been doing, I think it's been a little, not slow to get started, but we've been putting a lot of thought and care into how we want to design that community for people. And that means that we are still in the process of building up our onboarding and outboarding and all those things. But we've been having some really wonderful conversations in there. And then another thing that I've been doing is, although I still offer one-to-one coaching, we are shifting to a lot of group programs. One of the things that I have really come to feel in my several years of coaching now is that although there are many clients who need one-to-one support in figuring out what's going on with them, a lot of people just need to know other neurodivergent people. A lot of people are isolated. They feel like they're the weird one. No one else goes through what they go through. And as a coach, I'm seeing all these people individually and going, like you're all having the same problem. If I could just get you in the room together so you could all realize that and work together to solve it. Like you don't barely need me. And so one of the things I really want to do is start getting those folks in a room together to work together, to form bonds, to form relationships, and to see what neurodivergent life can be, see how joyful and fun and playful it can be, and not just be focused on how do we do the dishes all the time. Though I did talk to 4 separate clients this week about how we could do the dishes better. So that's certainly always going to be a problem we're going to be solving here. But if you are ever interested in working together in a group capacity or a one capacity, we are in the midst of revamping the website to reflect what we're doing now. And I encourage you again to get on the mailing list if you're not there, and let me tell you every week what we're up to in case you're interested. It's important to me to offer a diversity of programs and also to recognize that there's so many great coaches out there. And so if you ever get in touch and I'm not the person for you, or I'm not doing the thing that I think would help you, I will try to refer you to one of my colleagues who is also doing amazing work and maybe is focusing more on what you're looking for. But we help neurodivergent adults create a life that works for you. I mean, that's really what I want to do. And that is all the way from figuring out the dishes and how to get up in the morning, all the way up to how do we make friends? How do we create community? How do we solve some of these huge world issues together? How do we protect rights for disabled and neurodivergent people? How do we maintain access for neurodivergent and disabled people to the society at large. These are all problems that neurodiverging focuses on in very different ways, right? Again, a bottom-up approach. So anyway, that's my intro spiel. This is like what we're up to now, what's been going on both personally and professionally for the past 7 months. And from here on out, you're going to get basically normal podcasts. Some of them will be me talking at you, some of them will be interviews with guests. As always, if you have questions that you would like answered on the podcast by me or Anne or anyone else, or if you just have ideas for things that you would like to see, please feel free to email me. I love seeing your suggestions. And if we have something that would already support you, I'll tell you about it. But also, maybe I'll make the thing that you would like to see in the world. It's a really easy way to help me know what you're interested in. Other thing I want to come back here and say is I am going to, in experimentation, in the spirit of experimentation, and in the spirit of perfect doesn't exist, which I think is a really important thing to remember for me and for other people. I'm going to let this podcast do what it needs to do. And that means that although I will strive to release a podcast episode roughly on a schedule, I'm going to be chill about which day it comes out and whether it's a video or an audio podcast for a little while. I'm getting back into the swing of things. I'm creating a new structure for myself, right? As I talked about it a little bit. And I noticed over the past couple of months as I geared up to get this podcast back moving that I was experiencing a lot of resistance over having to get an episode out every so often or on a schedule or having to be on video all the time if I don't want to be. And also, but what if I want to be on video and I've set it up in audio and just what neurotypical people call overthinking, which is not really overthinking. It's fear, right? It's based in being wrong a lot as a neurodivergent person, being judged as doing it wrong, right? So on the one hand, my feelings are valid. And on the other hand, I think this is a good time to practice what I preach, which is try things, tweak them, be open to change, and just go for it and do it messy. And I started this podcast messy back in 2020. I had no idea what I was doing. I still mostly don't know what I'm doing when it comes to tech and podcasting, but we're just going to be okay with doing it messy because I have so much I want to talk to you about and so much that I think is still important happening and so much information that I don't think is accessible to people. There's still so much to do. So I'm going to let myself do it messy. So, hey, I'm telling you straight up, I'm going to try to do this podcast every 2 weeks, roughly. And I'm going to try to be on video, but sometimes it might be audio only, and sometimes it might be early or late, and we're going to flow with it. We're going to flow with it because time is fake anyway. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate those of you who have stuck around through the hiatus. If you like this podcast and you think you'll like what I'm doing, please feel free to invite your friends, send them a link. Please hit subscribe or, wherever you are on your podcast app. That really helps us out. If you used to listen and you dropped off because I left and now you're excited I'm back, take this opportunity to leave me a review and tell me which of those past episodes you really liked or learned something from. And check out neurodiverging.com for lots of information about what we're up to now. I'll see you soon.